Principles of grammar translation method. The child can best interpret English words and phrases when these are translated into his mother tongue. This was the thinking at that time, that mother tongue translation is very much important. So these were the principles of grammar translation method. Let us repeat it. The child can best interpret. Interpret over here means understand the English words and phrases when they are translated into his mother tongue. This was the thought, that the children can understand a language better, in a better way, and they can learn the literature, okay, by translating it into their mother tongue. Second is, by comparing and contrasting the English structure with that of the mother tongue, the child can best understand it. Okay, second principle is what? That by comparing with the mother tongue and by contrasting with the mother tongue, the English sentences, structure over here means sentence construction, okay, English sentences, okay, the child can best understand it. So comparing and contrasting with the mother tongue will help the child to acquire better understanding, best understanding in the English sentence construction. This was the thought, that sentence construction can be done in a better way, in a best way, through the mother tongue. This was the second principle. The translation will also help the students in attempting simple exercises in composition. The exercises which are there in the book, composition means written exercises which are there, the students have to translate it in the mother tongue from English language and vice versa, and this way they will able to do these exercises in a proper manner and achieve more marks in the examination. Translation can best interpret English words, phrases, and sentences. So, in order the students to understand English language, translation is the best method. This was thought. So, let us repeat the principles. The child can best interpret English words and phrases when these are translated into his mother tongue. ठीक है, मैं भी आपको हिंदी में बता देती हूँ कि प्रिंसिपल्स क्या थे ग्रामर ट्रांसलेशन मेथड के, कि जब तक ट्रांसलेशन नहीं करवाई जाएगी इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज की, तब तक अंडरस्टैंडिंग अच्छी तरह नहीं होगी बच्चों में लैंग्वेज की, ठीक है। और जब तक कंपेयर नहीं किया जाएगा सेंटेंसेस को मदर टंग के साथ, मदर टंग सेंटेंसेस के साथ, तब तक अंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं बेटर हो पाएगी लैंग्वेज की। नेक्स्ट इज सिंपल एक्सरसाइजेस जो है वो इजीली कर पाएंगे ट्रांसलेशन वाली जो है, एंड वो अच्छे मार्क्स भी ले पाएंगे। ये मैंने ऐड किया है मार्क्स वाला, मगर आपका प्रिंसिपल क्या है ग्रामर ट्रांसलेशन मेथड का, that the translation will also help the students in attempting the simple exercises in composition. Translation can best interpret English words, phrases, and sentences. Okay, so these are the principles. Next, procedure of the method. How this method was performed in the classes. What is the procedure? The method begins with the English reader book. The teacher reads the paragraphs sentence by sentence and translates the words, phrases, and sentences into the child's mother tongue. So all the sentences of the story or the prose is translated word to word, sentence to sentence, okay, in the mother tongue for the children. Means पकी पकाई रोटी मिल रही है बच्चों को और बच्चे समझ पा रहे हैं मदर टंग के अंदर हर सेंटेंस और हर वर्ड। तो इससे क्या होगा, मदर टंग ही ज्यादा उनकी बेटर होगी। इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज जो है वो बोल नहीं पाएंगे, दे डू नॉट एबल टू डेवलप द स्किल ऑफ स्पीकिंग। सिर्फ वो अंडरस्टैंड कर पाएंगे और रीड कर पाएंगे, मे बी राइट अच्छी तरह कर पाएंगे, मगर दे विल नॉट बी एबल टू स्पीक प्रॉपरली, दे विल नॉट बी एबल टू लिसन टू द लैंग्वेज। अगर वो इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज सुनेंगे नहीं ज्यादा तो वो बोल भी नहीं पाएंगे, बिकॉज लिसनिंग के बाद ही स्पीकिंग आती है। एंड व्हेनेवर यू हैव लर्न्ड योर मदर टंग, it is because you have heard your parents speaking your mother tongue. So when you listened to the language, that is the mother tongue. You're listening it every time. That is why you are able to speak very nicely your mother tongue. So whichever language you are able to listen more, that you will develop the skill of speaking also. So the teacher reads the paragraphs sentence by sentence and translates the words, phrases and sentences into the child's mother tongue. This is the procedure. The teacher then asks the students to give the mother tongue translation of words, phrases and sentences. The same thing which the teacher has told them, has translated the words and phrases, the same thing the teacher will ask them whether the students are able to translate or not. So over here, translation is being taught more rather than the language. The meaning of difficult English words are written in the mother tongue on the blackboard. The homework is to translate a few sentences in mother tongue and to learn the meaning in mother tongue. So every point, okay, of the procedure is related to the mother tongue, not to English language. So whenever you are studying or learning grammar translation method, you can simply remember that in this translation of mother tongue is done, and every point includes mother tongue, so you can learn it easily this way. The next is, I was going to repeat all the points. By the above process, the pupils are expected to grasp English words, phrases and sentences, English grammar and English structure patterns. Okay, structure patterns over here means the sentence construction, the sentences. Okay, let us repeat the procedure. The method begins with the English reader. The teacher reads the paragraphs sentence by sentence and translates the words, phrases and sentences into the child's mother tongue. The teacher then asks the students to give the mother tongue translation of English words, phrases and sentences. The meaning of the difficult words, English words, are written in the mother tongue on the blackboard. That means teacher is writing on the blackboard also in the mother tongue. The homework is to translate a few sentences in mother tongue and to learn the meaning in mother tongue. So this is the procedure of the grammar translation method. Advantages: easy method for the teachers. Okay, easy to proceed. It proceeds from the known to unknown. Known to unknown over here means the definitions of grammar are taught to the students. They have to learn that, then they are moving on to the unknown stream. Okay, and known over here also means that they already know the mother tongue. Okay, they already know the mother tongue which is known to them. Unknown is English language, so they are moving from known to unknown. It saves the time and effort of the teacher. Teacher's work is made easy. Practical for teaching high classes in minimum time. For the higher classes, it is okay. It is practical. It's because in the higher classes, the syllabus is too much, and that is why it has to be completed in minimum time. Few teaching aids are required in this because mother tongue is being used instead of the teaching aids. English grammar made easy for the teachers because they don't have to give more examples in this. Easy to explain the conceptual words because whatever is there in the textbook, that the teacher can see in the dictionary and then she can tell them. And also it is easy to explain the conceptual words in the mother tongue because they are explaining it in the mother tongue, not in English itself. So if you have to explain a word or give the synonym in English, that will be difficult rather than giving the mother tongue equivalent. So easy to explain the conceptual words in the mother tongue. Limitations of grammar translation method, we all know. Let us discuss once. It ignores the natural way of language learning. What is the natural way of language learning? Any language is learned first by listening. Okay, first listening is very much important. Over here, listening is not at all there. The students are listening more to the mother tongue instead of English language. And teacher is all the time speaking more of mother tongue. So language. So it ignores the natural way of language learning. This you can explain yourself that the natural way of teaching the students is first to teach them listening skill, then speaking, then reading, and last comes writing, then comes the grammar study. Okay, so that is the natural way and that is ignored in grammar translation method. Passive method, the student cannot read extra material with understanding. Okay, because what all is given in the textbook, what all is given in the textbook, that the teacher is explaining by translating it in the mother tongue. But if the student wants to read something else, then how will the child come to know the meaning of those words or phrases if everything is taught in mother tongue only, not in English language? So it is a passive method. It does not develop the interest in English language. So it is a passive method. Loss of free expression. Free expression over here means freely speaking the language. The students do not acquire the skill to speak the language. Loss of free expression because the students think in mother tongue first and then translate in English. But they should, what is the correct method? They should think in English language itself, because if they have to speak the language, if they have to do the free expression of English language, then they have to think in English. But what this method is teaching them? This method is teaching them to think in the mother tongue. Word-to-word translation kills the sense or the actual meaning. For example, if I translate this, it is raining, may be expressed by some students as the rain is falling. ठीक है, बिकॉज जब वो हिंदी में उसको ट्रांसलेट करते हैं, ठीक है, तब उनकी लैंग्वेज चेंज हो जाती है और हिंदी में अगर आप ट्रांसलेट करोगे तो वो डिफरेंट कुछ होगा, और उसको अगर आप फिर इंग्लिश में करोगे तो वो ट्रांसलेट होके हो जाएगा द रेन इज फॉलिंग। तो इसलिए ये जो है ग्रामर सेंस जो है उनके माइंड में वो चेंज हो जाती है एंड वो इनकरेक्ट स्ट्रक्चर सेंटेंस के फॉर्म होते हैं, ठीक है। तो सेंटेंस कंस्ट्रक्शन जो है दैट विल बिकम रॉन्ग इफ दे स्टडी बाय ग्रामर ट्रांसलेशन मेथड। No scope for originality. The students become dependent on their mother tongue. They don't have something to create, okay, in their mind, something original in English language, because they depend on the mother tongue. Rules of grammar are taught first, but what should be done? Examples should be given. So grammar is taught deductively by grammar translation method. Teach is neglected. Students become passive learners. Teaching becomes dull because no teaching aid is used in this. Very less teaching aids are used. English prepositions cannot be translated into mother tongue. This creates confusion. Suggestions are: give students opportunities for speaking and free expression. Use translation to check the students' grasp of English. Do not use translation every time. Use translation rarely or to show the differences between the mother tongue and the English usage. Now, what is the conclusion? Because the grammar translation method emphasizes reading rather than the ability to communicate in a language, there was a reaction to it in the 19th century, natural approach or the direct method, and there was later a greater emphasis on the teaching of spoken language. So after grammar translation method, which method started? The direct method, and that we will learn in the next class. Okay, and in that method, speech was given more importance, and there was later a greater emphasis on the teaching of spoken language, like we have written here. Okay? So if you have any doubt, you can ask me later. Okay, students, thanks a lot.